If you like to become a professional banker, first and foremost, you have to join a bank. For this, you have to actually survey the websites of different banks and check their entry qualifications, what they are asking for. And most banks do provide for you to apply through their websites. Most banks take young students at two entry points. One is the A-level qualified students, and then of course the graduates. If we focus on A-level qualified students, those students with their A-level qualification and some connection to their O-levels as well, eligibility criteria, once they have that, they can apply. So once you apply, most of the time you will find that other than A-level, there are other entry routes also, like part qualification in accounting bodies and some qualifications in London A-levels, and maybe part qualifications in banking exams as well. So once you apply, and then if they're shortlisted, they would call you for a test most probably. There will be internal test, and that test would focus on English, mathematics, and some basic economics knowledge, and of course general intelligence. So the candidates who pass this test are generally called for interviews. The interviews generally focus on the personality and the different aptitudes of the individual, and their general knowledge about banking and banking products and the economy of Sri Lanka and institutions like central bank. So if you have your aspirations to join a bank, it is very important that you do your search to understand what qualifications would enable you to be considered for a bank, as I said earlier, by searching through their websites and qualification criteria, and then preparing themselves for this test as well. Because test is not a difficult one, but it will have numerical as well as language skills tested, as I said earlier. And if you are successful in the test level, the interview definitely needs pre-preparation of how you are going to explain yourself in terms of your career behind, like school days and your achievements, and same time you will have to focus on things like your interest, extracurricular activities, how to explain all that. And then of course the panel will ask questions about that particular bank and general things about economy, the concepts, basic concepts, and even regulatory institutions like central bank would be covered in that. So most important thing is you have to concentrate on your ability to communicate in English, because these interviews would be conducted in English, exam would be in English, so that part is very important, because the banking as a general business is conducted in English. Of course, knowing other languages is an advantage, because when you are serving customers in different parts of the country, the predominant language of that part of the country has to be there. So those skills are also important and may not be tested, but they would ascertain that as well. But once you are in a bank, of course, the main thing is to do the exams conducted by the Sri Lanka Institute of Bankers and become a professional banker. That's the way to go up in banking career. Of course, doing a postgraduate like MBA would definitely help you to get into the higher echelons of the banks later in their career. But banks are institutions generally provide a lot of good training to their employees, so the internal development inside the banks are generally very good in terms of training and development. Other than that, you have to understand the second entry point is a management training or a graduate entry point. At that entry point, of course, there will be again, you will be asked whether you have a pass of a first class, or second upper, or second, sometimes they would take even second lower. And then there will be again an entrance exam, which is a little more tougher than the banking trainee, but because it's a graduate entry point, and it will be tested on your business skills, your communication skills, and your general knowledge in terms of business and banking. And then again there will be interviews probably 2 rounds of interviews. Sometimes there may be assessment sent as well to see your aptitude, and then you would be recruited as a management trainee. These are the 2 major entry points in a bank. Come as a banking trainee or a banking assistant, and then come as a management trainee or a management or executive trainee, and then you join the middle of the organization. But generally, all banks do provide great career paths. So people who join even at the lowest levels, that is as banking trainees, can aspire to be at the very high levels of the bank over the years if they show the competence and aptitude. Thank you.